Hi everyone. The EB5 investor visa is an extremely powerful option for people to get their green card. There's 10,000 EB5 visas granted every year, and the EB5 visa was specifically exempt from President Trump's executive order that was signed back in April. As many of you know, back in April, President Trump signed an executive order suspending the issuance of certain visas. Well, the EB5 visa was specifically exempt from that executive order. In this video, I'm going to answer the most frequently asked questions about the EB5 visa, so make sure to stick around. Hi everyone, so as I mentioned in this video, I'm going to answer the most frequently asked questions about the EB5 visa. This visa is very powerful. Again, it's explicitly excluded from the April executive order, which suspends the issuance of certain immigrant visas. 10,000 of these visas are available every year, and thousands of people have gotten their green card through the EB5 process. So in this video, I'm going to give you the important details that you need to know about. If this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe to our channel. And make sure to hit that like button so that YouTube knows to share this video with a broader audience. So let's get started. Question number 1. What is the EB5 visa? Well, the EB5 visa is an investment-based immigrant visa. What this means is that basically it allows somebody to invest in a business in the United States, and based on that investment, they can get a green card for themselves, for their spouse, and for their unmarried children under 21 years old. The basic idea of EB5 is that it allows somebody to invest in a business and create jobs for US workers, and in exchange for that investment and that job creation which benefits the US economy, the US allows that person to qualify for a permanent residence, for a green card. Question number 2, what are the requirements to qualify for an EB5 visa? Well, the first requirement is that the person has to invest at least $900,000 in a US business. In addition, the person's investment must lead to the creation of at least 10 full-time jobs for US workers. Also, the person's investment funds must be at risk, meaning that they must actually have been committed to the business. Also, the investment funds must have been obtained lawfully. This is called the lawful source of funds requirement. Additionally, the investment must be made in a new commercial enterprise. Basically, the business that's being invested in must be engaged in some sort of commercial activity. It cannot be, for example, a passive investment in stocks and bonds. It actually must be an investment made in a commercial business. And also, the investor must be engaged in the management of the business, meaning that in some capacity they are involved in the operations of the business. Question number 3, what is the process to get an EB5 visa? Well, the EB5 process actually involves multiple steps, and I'm going to talk to you about it step by step. The first step is filing a Form I-526 with USCIS. The Form I-526 is the initial immigrant petition. When you submit this form, you have to show that your funds have been invested, that you've invested the minimum requirement to qualify for EB5. So again, at least $900,000. You have to include a business plan with your Form I-526 showing how the funds are being spent and showing that the investment will lead to the creation of 10 full-time jobs for US workers. You include evidence showing how your funds were obtained lawfully. So you'll provide evidence of tax returns showing how you earned the funds, or perhaps the funds were gifted to you. So you will include a declaration from the person that gifted you the funds showing that they're in fact making a gift to you. And there's several other documents that go into the Form I-526 and the petition that's submitted to USCIS. Now, after the Form I-526 is approved, the next step is to either file an adjustment of status or to apply for your immigrant visa. You would apply for an adjustment of status if you're lawfully present in the United States. And if you're outside of the United States, then you would file for your immigrant visa. Now, upon your entry to the United States on your immigrant visa, or upon approval of your adjustment of status, you would now be considered a conditional permanent resident. Basically, you get a green card for 2 years. During this 2-year period, you're required to maintain your investment in the business, meaning that you cannot pull your investment funds out of the business and, for example, withdraw your investment funds or pay yourself the totality of your investment funds. You must keep your funds invested in the business. In addition, during this 2-year period of conditional permanent residence, this is the time where you have to actually create those 10 full-time jobs for US workers. So again, during this 2-year period, you must maintain your investment and you must create those 10 full-time jobs. Now, 3 months before your 2-year period of conditional permanent residence expires, you're eligible to file a Form I-829. The Form I-829 is the petition to remove the condition from your green card so that you can become an unconditional permanent resident. Again, this is called the Form I-829. At the time the Form I-829 is filed, you show that the 10 jobs were created and that you've maintained your investment in the business. Once the Form I-829 is approved, congratulations, you're now an unconditional permanent resident. After a certain amount of time, you are potentially eligible to apply for citizenship as well. Question number 4, what is a regional center? Basically, a regional center is a business entity that is specially designated by USCIS. And what a regional center does is that it pools investment from multiple EB5 investors to fund a project of some kind. Now, when somebody invests in a regional center, that regional center usually develops some sort of a large-scale real estate project. But again, there are many regional centers and many regional center projects, and they're engaged in many separate areas. There are regional center projects that have funded major hotel developments. There are regional center projects that have funded shopping centers. There are regional center projects that have funded sporting arenas. There are many, many, many different types of regional centers. Question number 5, what is the difference between making a direct investment and making a regional center investment? Well, first off, let me define what a direct investment is. A direct investment is basically any investment that is not made in a regional center project. So for example, if you're starting your own business, or you're investing in your own business, or you're purchasing an existing business, these are all examples of a direct investment. Now, if you're going to invest in a regional center project, that would be a regional center investment. One of the main aspects of a direct investment is that typically you're much more in control of the business. Again, as we mentioned, when you make a direct investment, it's almost like an example of a direct investment is investing in your own business. So this is something that you would have more control over. You would have more decision-making abilities by making a direct investment. Whereas if you're going to invest in a regional center, there will be a managing member of the regional center that will be making most of the decisions. Now, typically, as an investor in a regional center project, you will typically be given voting rights, but for the most part, your day-to-day involvement in the management of the project is minimal. Another major difference between direct investments and regional center investments has to do with job creation. Now, if you're going to make a direct investment, you have to create 10 actual jobs. This means that at the time that you're applying and you're filing for your Form I-829, you have to show evidence of 10 actual jobs that were created by your business. This is called direct job creation. However, if you invest in a regional center project, the regional center gets special benefits regarding job creation. In addition to counting the direct jobs that the regional center project creates, the regional center project is also able to take credit for indirect jobs. So let me give you an example of what this means. Let's say the regional center project that you invest in is a large-scale hotel development. Again, let's say this is a 500-room hotel. Now, this hotel development is going to directly employ perhaps hundreds of employees. They're going to have chefs, a cleaning crew, concierge, receptionists, you name it. All of those people that work directly for the hotel, those are all classified as direct jobs. But in addition, as a result of the fact that this hotel development is going to be constructed in this city, neighboring restaurants are also going to see, presumably, a boost in business. You know, the restaurant that's located right down the street from the hotel is now going to get busier as a result of this hotel that was constructed. So now this restaurant is going to need more busboys and more waiters and more chefs. Well, a regional center is able to take credit for those jobs that are created in surrounding businesses. These are classified as indirect jobs. So that's one of the major benefits of investing in a regional center. So typically, if you want more hands-on involvement in running the business, then you would likely pursue a direct investment. However, if you want to be less involved in the day-to-day operations of the business and you want someone else to run the business, then you would most likely elect to invest in a regional center project. Question number 6, what is a targeted employment area? So for those of you that are interested in EB5, you've probably heard of the term targeted employment area thrown around quite a bit. So let me explain what this means. Remember back when I was talking about the requirements of the EB5 program, and I said that you had to invest a minimum of $900,000? Well, in reality, you actually have to either invest $900,000 or $1.8 million. I know, it sounds like a radical difference. Well, the way it works is like this. You're actually only eligible to invest $900,000 if the business that you're investing in principally does business within a targeted employment area. Basically, a targeted employment area is either a rural area or an area that's experiencing high unemployment. Basically, through the EB5 Visa program, the government wants to incentivize investors investing in these areas, these troubled areas, either these rural areas or these areas that are experiencing high unemployment. The government wants to incentivize investment in these areas, and so they allow investors to qualify for EB5 by investing half of the normal investment amount. So rather than investing a standard amount of 1.8 million, through the EB5 program, USCIS allows somebody to invest $900,000 if the investment is made within a targeted employment area. But if the investment is located outside of a targeted employment area, then the minimum investment amount is actually $1.8 million. I know this is a little bit confusing, so if you have any questions about this, or if you want to know whether the area that you're planning on investing in qualifies as a targeted employment area, just shoot me an email. You can find my details in the description below. Question number 7, is EB5 safe? To answer that question, EB5 is just like any other investment. Before you make the investment, you need to do your due diligence and you need to assess your own risk tolerance for this business. Now, there's a couple of different types of professionals that you can work with to help you analyze different businesses and make the appropriate financial decisions. You can either consult with a registered investment advisor or you can consult with a broker-dealer. Both of these types of professionals should be registered with FINRA, and they can better be able to guide you in selecting a business to invest in. So there you have it, everybody. Those are 7 of the most frequently asked questions regarding the EB5 Visa program. I hope you guys got a ton of value from this video. If you did, please make sure to like this video so that YouTube knows to share this with a broader audience. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you know anybody that could benefit from this video, make sure to share this video with them. Again, just to do a quick recap, In this video, we answered 7 of the most commonly asked questions about the EB5 program. We talked about what is the EB5 visa, what are the EB5 visa requirements, what's the process to get an EB5 visa, what is a regional center, what's the difference between a regional center investment and a direct investment, what is a targeted employment area, and is EB5 safe? Again, I hope you guys like this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video.